the questions. But before that, we have just to recap with you, just to have some fun and also, I don't know, maybe you get some interesting information out of it. So this is the code, and I just asked you all to join the Kahoot so I can start the game.
I'll add it.
Page number is already in the meeting, so if you want to jump on the train, let's do it.
With your neighbors.
Good. All good? Okay. Okay, let the show start.
Oh, I feel like this is going to be easy for me. Whose laptop is connected?
Yeah.
But that one should be connected to the. But here's the thing, like it's not going to work if we're playing music and also have the microphone. If we need the microphone.
So that was a medium guess. I would say no one reading posts of the network. We are always putting so much effort in posting cool pictures and stuff. Yeah, actually we're in Bilbao. You should remember that name of the city in Spain that has famous Guggenheim Museum. It will play a role in a future question.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's complicated with our technical setup.
Leading in front. Of Portugal. Then Luxembourg, Kartoffel, and hello from Paris. All right, next question. What are the benefits of being the GB member? Also interesting for those who might want to run. You all get €100 per meeting, or we get gift card or discount vouchers. 2, 1, 0. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that was almost a tie between the options. In fact, Taco Roll, we get to see them in the meetings. Not as often as we would like. So there has been often a formal request to show Paco in the screen.
But not Rolo? Yeah, Rolo is just like, no.
Bulgaria knows the GB very well. Maybe because we have been in touch so much. Okay, half of them. How much time do you think the GB spends for GB work per week? So, well, no one counts. 3 to 6 hours, which is the official number of hours that's also on the application. This thing, or all of the above.
The real answer is Kahoot.
Great question. There's an hour per week. Yes.
Oh my God, MC is the.
Oh yeah, it's not it sometimes feels like it's per week. What do you mean?
How much time does the GB spend per week? A week?
Okay.
Like every.
Now people coming with their logic here.
Can't spend less. Can't spend less or more time in a week.
Yeah, maybe to have a serious part about this, we were actually discussing this in the last meeting because officially it says 3 to 6 hours. Want to be honest, it's not. But also we don't want to scare anyone off. It's a very broad variety, and I think a lot of things are not very obvious what we do. I mean, on the list here in the colored was yellow. It only says the event, but obviously every one of us is spending much time on emails and so on, just as you do for your own courses. So we have okay. 5.
Is this?
True or false? GB has weekly office hours where we spend time with the IO. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Actually, I think it was, then there would be no 3 to 6 hours. Gone.
Full time.
I said true.
What did the IO answer?
No, I didn't.
It's not correct.
You guys have daily on this.
Yeah, we're not employees of the office, that's why we're also not getting money. Just to have this at once and for all.
This is such an incentive too.
Oh, no. Woo! Is there maybe someone who can still catch up with Bulgaria? Let's see. 6 out of 8. How many new initiative countries came up in 2021? Who has a good memory?
Oh my God!
That's bad. So who can name that? No, there was one wrong. Who wants to try?
Kosovo, Hungary.
It's Malta. Yeah. Yeah.
Where is Malta? It's a little island by the Mediterranean.
North Macedonia was already there beforehand. Yeah. And it's Moldova, it's very, very early stage. There is no one really there already saying that. Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's the living embodiment of the massacre.
Okay.
Executive director.
Second last. Where is the GB members based? Where do we live?
Berlin, Bilbao, The Hague, Dublin, Bologna, Berlin, Donegal, Geneva, Trieste, Bilbao, Barcelona, Berlin, San Sebastian, Barcelona, St. Andrews, Trieste, and Geneva, Berlin, Prague, Munich, Rome, Madrid, and Kiev. I did it!
So, if the yellow one, so I'm living in Berlin, Arendt is living in San Sebastian, but he partially lives in Bilbao, where we had our Arts TV meeting.
Great question.
Lika moved around a lot, like Prague, and hey, now we're
I was
not
confusing for years.
St. Andrews is in the UK, but actually before Julia was living in Donegal.
But now she's very St. Andrews.
Yes. Then Trieste is for Vicky, but she's about to move to Bologna. And Gex is currently a village in France where you live if you cannot afford to live in Geneva.
And they're Nikolai's base.
All right, last question, and then we're starting the business. Anya, wow, the latecomers.
Let's see.
What are the portfolios? Well, if you read the update notice, you should know. Blue.
Maybe you should not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Or blue. There's no definite answer. And then we have two sets of options. So in fact, the portfolios of BTV are formed every year.
No.
Yeah, that's actually leading us to our update, and people will definitely then tell you what they have been working on, and you can ask questions. So thank you for partaking. Sure. Holding on.
Mama.
Kosovo was Lama, and four is Atlantic, and Portugal was in 5. All right. Anya was cheating. You think it's cheated?
Anya has cheated by being 20 years old.
Nicola.
I will take the floor. Thank you all so much for the amazing Kahoot, and congratulations to Anya for winning the Kahoot crown, whatever it brings with it. I'm not sure. I hope Lika prepared some sweets. So in the following couple of minutes, we will be uncovering together with you what are some of the main points that the GB has worked on over the past 6 months. So from the last BNC meeting, which happened in spring. So we'll be covering the whole time frame from April up until now, and to kind of show you and discuss with you what has the GB been up to, both individually, all of the GB members, but also as a group. So I'm just waiting for the updates document to come up, if possible. If not, you can also open it. You've received it on your email. So it'll just take a couple of minutes to maybe find the document and open it. So the way that this update section will be structured is I'll just go with you now across kind of the main points that the GB has been discussing as a group, and then we'll also give time to each GB member to also present their own portfolios and what they have personally been up to. So if you were to go to the BNC, to the GB update section, let me just... All right, is everybody there? I'll take that as a more or less, yeah. So the biggest kind of contribution, amazing, thank you so much. So the biggest change that we had in the network and that we're super excited about is the national committees. So we were very fortunate in this year to have a lot of activity within the NCs and a lot of new projects that came about. And we structured the work in the following areas, so notably in the regional clusters. Most of you were involved in some kind of regional cluster calls throughout the year, more or less 1, 2, 3, depending on the regional cluster and depending also on the need from the NCs. And really try to entertain that connection with you, the NC representatives, just to make sure that we have a continuous conversation both from the GB side and the NC side. Further on, there was also the President Network that continued to flourish with all of the contributions from everyone in that room over there in Berlin, but also all of those joining online. And later on, we have quite a few initiatives that came about in this year that I'll uncover in my section later down the line. In terms of international governance, we had a couple of proposals that came in from the last BNC meeting, as well as some reviews from previous BNC updates. Now, as you may know, some of the proposals that we had, most of them have been approved actually, and except for one. And some of them also have a longer kind of adaptation period, most notably because of the new members platform that's coming this month. So we're really ready to be operational with a lot of the new policies with the new members platform as we were waiting kind of for that next step in order to ensure that all of the policies, notably in terms of evaluation, are brought to light within this new members platform. And then we move on to also the values change that we approved today and the election procedure that we discussed today. And we had quite a few network-wide events that were happening this year, and most notably the Summer Academy that was happening in later period of summer. So all of those that were able to attend, that was great. I think that we all had a wonderful time, and it was a one-of-a-kind event, truly. I hope that you all profited from kind of the experience. We had international sessions in Warsaw and Ljubljana. We're having the Media Academy being organized by the Czech Republic really soon. And as well, we have a T4ET hosted by Uap Azerbaijan. And lastly, we also had some GB meetings, a diversity training for the GB members as well. We think that that's a super important thing to mention, is that as GB members, we don't usually get the chance to kind of develop ourselves, at least academically. So the diversity training really allowed us to kind of question where we stand as UAP in terms of diversity, but also how do we improve our approach to diversity. And now I would like to give the floor to Lika, who has only a couple of minutes to go through her portfolio. And then we'll do all of the GB portfolios person per person. And then we'll have time for questions if that's okay. So Lika, you have the floor. Go ahead.
My portfolio covers, as you know, I'm sharing the government studies this year, and apart alongside this, I am supporting the international sessions. Basically, when it comes to the chairing, like one of the central parts of chairing the GB is to support the GB members on their individual achievements and work actually track how is their progress going on, like what kind of specific support system they want, and how I can actually really assist with individual projects and the plans that they have. So generally this is, generally we have monthly calls, but apart from this monthly calls, I have this one-on-one relations with every GB member individually, and I'm trying to track their work plan and also support them in all the ways they need. So it's either it's calls or the some work sessions that I have with each of the GB member, and we just decide on their plan and so on and so on. Apart from this, when it comes to the governing body meetings and the monthly meetings, I'm in charge of the agenda. just collecting the agenda points, also tracking what were the leftovers from the previous meetings, for example, and what we need to prioritize as the GB. Maybe there are some the burning topics that we need to take care of, or maybe there is something super strategic and it's been a bit like under the carpet for a while, and like basically I'm in charge of to track and to see this like the small details that are part of this bigger picture, and like really try not to forget about them and always have this like the whole plan and like all these targets there. Liaising with the international office and the bi-weekly calls with the executive director. It's really like one of like probably most fascinating parts of chairing the GB is actually this like relations with the international office, and in this case with Anya as well. Basically, we have this like bi-weekly calls, and we really discuss overall the network and what IO and GB should do, side by side in order to actually tackle the problems, come up with solutions. So it's like we have a really like very strong and very close cooperation. Apart from that, I think apart from this, I'm supporting the international sessions. As you know, I'm supporting Ilya as well as taking part in the selection panels. Also, like generally strategic development of the international sessions. That is something that is on my plate. Overseeing things and the future plans when it comes to the ISs. Also, I worked on the discussion paper regarding the international sessions. It contains different blocks such as reflections, selection criteria, and future vision of the ISs. And also, alongside Julie, I worked on the updated version of the report for international sessions that will see daylight very soon, especially taking into account that there is a bit more than 1 month until my term. Apart from that, I gave some technical support to the IO, let's say this year, with Summer Academy preparation meeting in Kiev, as well as Summer Academy Lisbon Hub that me and Vicky participated, as well as European Youth Event. Also, in regards to some external representation, there was this UNFPA headquarter meetings with the partner youth organizations, also I participating in EUAP impact assessment framework, and I had a couple of calls with the consultants, and there were some, of course, calls and some selection panels that I took part in, as well as contributed to the strategy day alongside Yanis. But I think that is, more or less. I am pretty sure that I actually forgot to mention many things. But I think if you also have any other questions, how exactly is with the chairing of the governing body, just feel free to also ask any questions during the Q&A. Nicola, I'm giving the word back, or I can just like hand it to maybe Vicky.
No, I'll go ahead and then I'll pass it on to Vicky if that's fine. Thank you so much, Lika, for your updates. So for my section, I'm mostly in charge of international governance as well as NC coordination. And I was very lucky over the past 2 years to keep the same portfolio just to be able to also accompany some of the projects that we had running. And I'm most proud of the people who are actually, some of them are in the room there in Vanze, and most notably it's Uap Bulgaria and Uap Kosovo, and I want you to raise your hand so I can see you on the little screen. And I really want to applaud all of their commitment and all of their engagement in terms of launching Uap in their respective domains, and I really had a really fun time working with you, and that's also kind of what I hope that is going to be brought from my legacy within the GB. So I'm really happy that we have 3 new UAP initiatives that were recognized by the GB, and then actually one that's in the making. So we have UAP Bulgaria and UAP in Kosovo that were recognized in the beginning of May. last year, and they already started both with events on a regional format, and now UAP Bulgaria is developing another digital session that's going to happen early next year. So I'm really proud to say that I was a part of their journey as well, and I hope that they carry it on for multiple years to come. And UAP Hungary was more recently recognized, so they were recognized in October, and they're sadly not in the room there, but hopefully they'll be there with the next BNC meeting. And this is also a call out to the network to really, if you see any capacities on your side, to really try to extend a hand to them and try to integrate them integrate them into the EYP universe, as we know how digital sphere was very complex to first get started, but also provided an amazing opportunity for these NCs who never previously had the chance to do it. Now there was a bit more time to do it, and we're super proud of that. All UAP Bulgaria had their meeting in August. I just helped assist it, nothing too major, and Linda there can help you more, can tell you more about what happened and how they actually formed the group over there, and what also the next steps are from their side. So the GB's role is really to get the ball starting, and we were there present in the beginning of the part. And as soon as we realized that there was more capacities from the committees, be it national or actually initiatives, we kind of let them take the ball forward. And so that's how the strategy formed. Basically, we really engaged on the first couple of months, first couple of 6 months, and then we allow for the initiatives to develop themselves. And that's notably what we're doing now with Malta and also Moldova. So they are the newest members of our group. Moldova is in the very beginning, kind of fetal position, if you will, starting point in terms of just getting started. So we're just getting people interested in EYP in the country. We have a partner organization there. So hopefully over the next BNCs, you will see more and hear more about EYP being developed in Moldova. And what's exciting is that we're actually finally closing in on the European continent. So what was usually kind of gray areas on our EYP maps are really starting to diminish. So as it stands now, we only, of course, don't have the small countries such as Andorra, Monaco, and San Marino, but I guess that's also too small for us to develop actually a powerful NC in that regard. But we're only lacking then Montenegro from the bigger countries. And I say I'm really proud of that. And I think that this GB also helped out a lot in their efforts to make this kind of a reality. What else? External representation of the EYP. I participated notably in a panel for youth in the Western Balkans. So within the GB, we also have this role of representing EYP in external events, and you'll see it all throughout this update section that someone went somewhere. So my role was kind of Western Balkans and also digitally focused. And then, a couple of next issues that we'll bring up. So it's how do we kind of support these younger NCs in member retention. And I think Ilona has a lot to share from her experience as well. She's there in the room. So if they develop quite a wide framework of how to engage new delegates coming into EYP, how do we make them stay within EYP? And that's going to be also an issue that's going to be present for the network. Then NC compliance, if you remember, that was a discussion 2 BNCs ago and the last BNC as well. How do we make sure that all NCs are compliant with the charter, or at least don't tarnish the reputation of EYP? So it's still an ongoing discussion. How do we establish a good system? But overall, there are certain trackers that are already in place to ensure that we have some supervision over what is happening within the network, and especially if there is nothing negative happening within the network. And yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you all so much. And I pass it on to Vicky. Oh, sorry, to Yanis. I'm sorry.
Yes, there's Yanis before me.
And the bigger chunk, or if not the biggest chunk, was on the. Some might already have bleeding ears from hearing the word but yeah, it's been a long way. And you see that there's a couple of steps, and some of them are marked with finished, and some of them are obviously still in progress. Some of you have been partaking in the strategy day. So overall, my responsibility was first off internally within the GB to coordinate the effort of having this on the agenda regularly. For 2020, for example, we had next to our monthly calls, we had, I think, a couple of, I don't know, 8, 9, or even 10 extra meetings just dedicated on strategy, to plan events, to coordinate with other stakeholders like the office. And then we run a broader list broader list of activities like focus group interviews, polls, evaluation, or workshops at different events such as the Bncm meeting, Summer Academy, or now first time strategy day. We introduced a new format of online town halls, which hopefully will continue. So with the happily approved mission and values, maybe then approved finally in next Bncm meeting, we have also kind of accomplished really the biggest framework of it, and you might know it consists of the strategy itself with the objectives and the pillars. We are about to finish the key results, which are indicators for 1-2 years within the whole cycle, and then we started to develop the project/initiatives to start implementation, which then by the end of the year should be kicking off. My second portfolio part was actually only or mainly relevant for the last year, which was organization development. I kept some parts of it, but I will not spend much time on that. I also couldn't spend so many capacities here this year. So I think the more relevant second part of my work in the GB was around communication. I mean, you have seen me here in the debates about communication several times. One really interesting event that is still coming up and has been around in the network for a while due to the pandemic and other factors is the so-called Media Academy that we're very happy from the GB side and from the office's side to support. It's hosted by Uap Czech Republic and will happen the first weekend of December. Finally, very happy that this is going to be the case, as to have a dedicated place to further develop not only media work or PR work of NCs, but think this as like a whole that should go forward together. Second aspect here, we had a bigger discussion about that as well, the update of the communication strategy, which has a lot of different pieces that still have to be put together, but I think we're on a good way here. Then next off, we were really happy to finally reintroduce a communication manager at the international office, thanks to the effort of course, Anya and her team, but also the support of the Schwarzkopf Foundation, who saw the necessity that was brought by us, and we had like several discussions within the GB in the past years that it is important as a network that we have dedicated capacities in our permanent staff to focus communication efforts. So I have been working with Sarah in a very good manner with several meetings over the year, and we identified areas in which the office and the GB can work together. This setup, let's say, of tandems kind of developed in the whole GB for some of the portfolios, and I think it's really also a way forward for the future. So this included like the corporate design, the logo, we had these discussions, and also for the future, it might include further materials for NCs. And yeah, one more point here to maybe highlight a bit more is the Belarus issue, which of course has been next to other events and topics and issues that we as a GP decided to make statements on. But of course, the Belarus issue was one that really kept with us for a long time and is still very much worrying for us. We have started, or we did a letter campaign with like 56 decision makers that we contacted. We got various responses. We had not yet been able to fully share this with the network because we were still also following up on it, but it included, for example, a response from the Dutch foreign minister, from high-ranking human rights commissioner of the Council of Europe, the chairperson of AFET committee in European Parliament, and so on and so on. And we are now trying to see how these people can actually help us with supporting Belarus in public or non-public ways. Anya just told me yesterday that she also has been in touch with a potential partner that might be willing to support financially. But we will have to further see how this can go. We're closely also in cooperation with the Schwarzkopf Foundation that, for example, is very, very relevant in the relation that we have with the German Foreign Office. Yeah. Then I will not like name all of them. It's just that, of course, in my portfolio, it has a lot of connections with external representation. While other GB members also do that, I might have just had a little bit more of like a focus here. And as I'm also working in the field of civic education outside of UAP, some contact there sometimes are helpful. For example, we're trying to cooperate more with the Council of Europe. The next active citizenship lab ideally should take place as a project supported by the Council of Europe in the framework of their study sessions. We will see how this goes. And lastly, very last point is the governing body, as the representation of the European Youth Parliament, has a special right within the Schwarzkopf Foundation, which consists of several programs. We have a dedicated seat on the board of the foundation to also co-decide on the budget of the foundation, which UAP budget includes. And I have been the appointed board member for the duration of the term, and have been communicating with the executive director, meeting, and just like, being a bit up to date what the rest of the foundation is also doing. And because I have been a team member of Understanding Europe for a long time, I also facilitated the agreement that has been created, and hopefully still in this year, after several months of continued work, will also be signed. Yes, thank you for your time.
Can you hear me? Yes, okay. Thank you very much, Yanis, for passing on the word to me. So hello, everyone. I'm Ludovica, but for friends, just Vicky, and I'm responsible for organizational development and partnerships. And it's such a pleasure to see you all here at the first in-person BNC meeting after the pandemic. So I'm really, really happy to see you there. So I want to start off very quickly by explaining what I've been up to. As I said, I'm responsible for organizational development and partnerships, but the main focus of the portfolio can be said that it's mostly focused on active citizenship. And this year, we have been reflecting a lot within the GB on how to foster active citizenship within the UAP, both on a national, local, and international level. And this has been happening through the Active Citizenship Lab, which has happened in June. So the second part of the year has been particularly fruitful in this regard. So as you can see from the updates, it was held in June 2021. And we have had the chance to cooperate with a group of individuals, of EWA peers, that have become active citizenship shapers. They have engaged in a series of meetings and conferences with experts. They have reflected on the role of active citizenship within our organization and have developed also their own projects that will be carried out throughout the year. So also I want to congratulate some of them that I also see in the room. It has been wonderful to work with you and to observe the progress that you have been doing in this field. On that regard, this has been particularly fruitful also for cooperation with other youth organizations. During the lab, we had a fair, an active citizenship fair with Open Policy Europe, the European Youth Energy Network, and Student Energy, who engaged with us and were very enthusiastic about the projects that we are carrying out in the UAP, and we had an exchange on the best practices, which was really fruitful, and we're looking forward to establishing new cooperations with them in the future as well. Other than that, I also took part in the European Youth event in Strasbourg, which also was a great opportunity to establish new cooperations and new contacts, let's say, with other youth organizations that were also present at that event. So that is particularly interesting as well. Moving on to capacity development, we did use hybrid tools to carry out the active citizenship lab, but not only, given that this part of the portfolio is more centered on the development of digital tools to increase the outreach possibilities of our network-wide events, trainings, labs, and academies. And this has also been a focus on for the Summer Academy, which has taken place in a hybrid format. So we had the hubs in 4 different places, which, yes, it worked out well on some aspects and can be developed better in the future. So we're also looking into how to make hybrid formats more effective. So that was also been a point of development, and progress has been made in this capacity. Something also very interesting is the work that we're doing in the Conference on the Future of Europe. And here I wish to thank also the IO. They've done an amazing job in carrying out this project. I've been cooperating with Ilya and Elena in particular on this project. So what it is about is that the EWP is now engaging with the European Parliament to contribute to the Conference on the Future of Europe, which is taking place between 2021 and 2022. So our participation in the European Youth event has happened in the framework of this cooperation. We have selected 25 young ambassadors on the future of Europe, who have summarized the results of the youth poll that has been sent out throughout the ISs and other 10 decentralized events within the network. And the young ambassadors have done an amazing job in summarizing all of the input that has been gathered. And now this document, the vision papers of the young ambassadors, has been published now. Now it is ready. And I'm also very much looking forward to this upcoming event that we're having in Brussels, in which I will be there as well together with Yanis, in which we will have the ambassadors speak and meet with some high-level decision makers. And this is a great achievement, in my opinion, at least for us. And even if we have been working on this for just a few months, but we already started to open up the UAP to new possibilities of engagement with decision makers, which is something that has long been an objective for our organization. So other than that, well, personally, I've taken part in Ljubljana as well. I attended Ljubljana IS, which was a great experience, and it was nice to also see people in person as well. And the hybrid format worked out really well. I was there for the Summer Academy as well. Now Strasbourg, and looking forward to Brussels. There are also some external representation events that I've been part in, through which I have been advertising, let's say, and promoting the ideas shared through the youth visions. There was a webinar with the European Union Youth Coordinator, Biljana Sirakova, and another one organized by the European Commission on the digital skills for the youth. Other than that, I mean, the President's Network has already been mentioned. We have kicked off the bi-monthly calls, and we're looking forward to the one that is coming up next week. So that's all for me, and I will pass it on to Julia.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Great. I hope you can hear me again. I'm zooming in from a different room now. I'm not sure if you noticed behind me. But yeah, so I'm just going to bring you through a few of the things that I've been up to since the last BNC, so in the spring. I think from the updates from the spring BNC, a lot of my work had been in kind of setting the foundations for this year in the portfolio of equity supervision, and then also beginning to coordinate with the alumni coordination group in a supportive role. So that's kind of been, I think when I spoke to you last, it was very much sharing kind of introductory remarks and also forming the foundations of this portfolio. So I hope that these updates will show you how far we've come this year and all of the things that we've been up to in this portfolio since then. So as I mentioned in the spring, we had the Task Force on Anti-Racism was continuing their term this year, and the Task Force on Accessibility was just beginning. So this was a new initiative at the time. And I'm very pleased to say that it has continued and has been very lovely to be a part of so far. I'm not sure, I can't see who's in the room, but I am sure that there are some connections there to either of these task forces as well. So yeah, it's been really nice to work with other groups as well. I think with my portfolio, I'm very lucky to be able to work with the 4 teams, including the alumni support portfolio. So the Task Force on Anti-Racism, the Task Force on Accessibility, and then the Safe Core team, and then also the alumni coordination group. So yeah, really nice to be able to kind of have the inputs of lots of members and to actively engage with you on different topics. But then I guess on the other side of that, my role this year has become quite a lot of coordinating and making sure that everyone has their voice heard and is included in the strategic decisions that we're making on the GB. So I hope that that has been reflected in how the experience of these the people in these groups have felt as well. So what I would maybe say is the most interesting thing for you to know at the moment is that kind of as the task forces have been working away this year internally and coordinating with the GB and especially with the IO, and a special shout out to Isa. I'm not sure if you're still there, but if not, and yeah, so we've been kind of keeping in touch, and basically with the intention that by the end of this year, so in December of this year, we're going to have a separate kind of conclusion event for the task forces to bring together to kind of reflect on their term, but also bring together the learnings that they found this year, and to then present some recommendations for the governing body to continue with next year. And these recommendations are hopefully to then progress in this area of work, so to see how is best to actually engage members in this work. And I think as Nicola mentioned, we were very lucky on the GB to be able to take part in diversity training this year, which was yeah, a real pleasure, I guess, or an honor to have that opportunity as well for us to learn. But I think the one thing that I took away from that was that actually oftentimes, I think in lots of organizations, you want change to happen very urgently and very quickly, and that actually it's good sometimes to slow down and take it step by step, and realize that it won't happen overnight, and you can just take slow and steady steps towards bettering the organization for everyone. So I hope that is what I've been doing this year, and sometimes maybe I feel like I'm not doing a lot because it's a lot of foundation work. So yeah, I hope that makes sense for everyone. But so that's kind of the task forces, and then alongside that, we're also having another diversity lab this year. So the diversity training for members. So this will be held in November. And this year we're thinking more about having projects. So anything that you've been working on, or anything that you think of that you might like to develop along with other members within this sphere of work, this is what we'll be welcoming at the Diversity Lab this year. And we're very it's in a nice turn of events that this will also take place the same weekend as the training for the National Safe Persons. So we'll hopefully be having a little bit of synergies between these two events as well. And then just to move on, I think you also had a lovely workshop for those who attended with Isa this afternoon on the redefining outreach and inclusion in EYP. So this is something that we've kind of begun working on during the summer and started the process of just kind of hearing what you have to say, hearing what, how these definitions would work well for you also, because I think especially with the new strategy and the new ways of working and thinking, it's nice to also redefine how we think of these terms as well. And then finally, just a little bit about the SafeCore team. So as I mentioned, the SafeCore team are organizing their training for National Safe Persons in November as well. And this has been really, really well developed, and has been a lot of thought put into this from the side of the SafeCore team. So I'm really excited for that, and I hope for any of you who are attending that you'll enjoy it. And I guess I mentioned it a little bit earlier during the policy proposal, but I think for me the SafeCore team structures and the welfare structures are dynamic and they're moving, and I think if you have any interest to get involved at all, please do. In January we'll be again opening the call for SafeCore team members. So if you have any interest at all in kind of developing the welfare structures of EYP, I would really urge you to get involved in that. And finally, I've also been working with the alumni network. So during the summer, they organized a digital alumni reunion and also launched the EYP Circle of Friends initiative. So this is to bring back past EYPers and in a supportive role. So there's a group of EYP alumni who are supporting the organization financially and in a way that is not tied to any particular project. So this has been really helpful to allow some freedom in some of the things that we're doing as well. So I'm looking forward to, if you have any questions afterwards, or if I didn't explain anything very well, do let me know. But lovely to see you all. I'll pass this on to Aritz, I think it is, after me.
Yep. Okay, I'll try to be quite fast because I think we're running quite out of time. So on my portfolio on educational programming and knowledge management, first section, understanding Europe and finding synergies between these two program lines of the Schwarzkopf Foundation. As Jani said, basically the agreement was drafted and several possible implementations of understanding Europe in our NCs were stated. But this hasn't yet been implemented as such in a very wide form, let's say. So Janice and I attended the first, the coordinators meeting and for Understanding Europe, and the second one was is actually being held at the moment as well. And we had a certain slots that we were interested in, and it was basically based on the possible synergies that we could find between Understanding Europe and our national committees, and not only about the implementation of Understanding Europe in our NCs, so that the network, the UE network, opens much more in our network, but also learning from their more structured kind of education they're offering, and also having common goals on education, which is basically what is my portfolio based in. Then we had the call for NCs, and I'm glad to say that the EYP Turkey and EYP Ireland are now the new hosting NCs for Understanding Europe. And basically, they have been selected and they're being integrated into this new network. And these synergies that we can see for the future include also the Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Fund that it will be open in December. And it's also an opportunity for NCs to, thanks to having UE as a program of their NC, to have a fund to diversify more their organization. Then as long-term events where Summer Academy and T4T as a continuous work. Of course, also having a drafting of a feedback document outlining the areas of improvement and advice for next years, especially of the organization of the Summer Academy in hubs and having this digital and hybrid formats, as well as with the Ljubljana IS that I attended as well, and giving the feedback on this same matter of the hybrid events and the future of this in our network. Then regarding training in the UAP, it's being done a revision of the pool of trainers as to how to be included to this pool of trainers, simplify in a sense the way trainers can be involved in this pool, and the activation in general of the training culture by ensuring that there are enough opportunities for trainers in the network. This is also a point of debate for tomorrow here in the BNC meeting. Then regarding teachers, first of all, thank you very much for the people who took part in the workshop today. A triple consultation has been launched. First of all, internally with GB at the GB meeting for in Bilbao. We had a quick debate on our stance towards teachers and how we envision teachers in the network. Then there was a preliminary consultation with teachers from my side at the teachers program in an event in a national session in Bilbao, just because it's close to where I live, and we had a preliminary thing to design now an online survey that hasn't been launched this week because of technical issues, but will be launched if not next week, the following week, so that we can also reflect with teachers about their position and role and their needs and expectations in the UAP program. And then a common consultation with the NCs today at the workshop and the BNC meeting. Then education in the UAP. So apart from outlining the future of the more structured education we want to have thanks to the cooperation with Understanding Europe, there's also the need of updating the document education in the UAP, and I have already started being designing a draft with a combination of the documents we have, education in the UAP and understanding the UAP, and creating in the future a handbook that is complete and it's more concrete as well and more tangible in terms of use by members, externals, teachers, and whoever needs it. Then on knowledge sharing, well, first of all, I think the biggest project that will come next year probably is the making all the knowledge more accessible and more dynamic, especially the UAP info site in the members platform. We will be seeing that once the new members platform is published, that there is this UAP info which can be further also developed into a more dynamic and accessible site instead of just having a storage of documents. So that's the future of this, also taking the initiative by the previous mandate of the governing body. That was fast, but I think it's more or less the updates from my side.
Gracias. Thank you, Aritz. And now we go back to you for a very quick round of questions or remarks or anything, because I know we're running out of time, but if there's anything pressing, now is the time. And if not, we can always ask them directly via Slack and via personal message, via Instagram. We're available on all platforms. And I wouldn't be surprised if Lika was to open a TikTok as well, seeing that she is into Kahoot.
Actually, Nicola, I don't think we'll be allowing questions since we're a lot behind schedule and people are dying and hungry and wanting to end the meeting today. So what we will be doing is, I guess you can all be available through Slack for questions. If people have questions, please address them to the GB members on Slack. They're very much capable of doing that. So yeah, do it that way, please. And then we will be moving on to the very last topic on the agenda, which is the, what is it again?
It's reconsideration of the evaluation.
Yeah, the reconsideration of the evaluation process after events. this is brought forward by EYP Azerbaijan. So maybe you can stand up and introduce the topic.
Okay, so hello everyone. I hope you have still energy for the last topic of the day for today. And so the statement is that one of the main ideas behind the topic of this debate is to address the problems that majority face during the evaluation process, because the current evaluation process is automated, which involves automated deadlines and inability to add new participants during evaluation period. Considering PYP events went digital for the last 1 year and a half, more people started using members platform as the main platform for opening calls, managing events, and lastly evaluations. Moreover, as we all know, digital PYP is infamous for the last-minute dropouts, and you always have to urgently search for a replacement, which eventually the person that you replaced is not on the members platform, and if they ask for evaluation, they could not be added to the members platform unless the evaluation period ends. So this is one of the problems. Another problem is that evaluation, the deadline for the evaluating people is 6 weeks, which sometimes is not really enough for evaluating the whole team. So can we switch back to the rationale? So rationale will be self-explanatory, is to make process of evaluation as smooth as possible, to make sure that everyone would get an evaluation, as well as being able to add new members. And how can we reach this goal? To give the access to control the whole evaluation process. By that I mean adding and removing users, as well as creating evaluation forms, should be given to the national committee for the process to be as transparent as possible. And additionally, extending the deadline for the evaluation process from 6 weeks or up to 3 months. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Then, are there any statements by NCs or the GB or the IO? Greece?
About just submitting this earlier, is a very short contribution. Uap Greece believes that since the evaluation system already provides lots of resources for, first of all, adding members before the event starts, and second, getting extensions from the HR, as well as sending evaluations to the HR officer to be uploaded after the deadline. For this legitimate reason, we have submitted a formal request to end the debate early on this agenda point.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay, then the international office has a statement as well.
So what I would like to clarify is the technical capabilities of the member platform. So some of the things which are proposed were not possible at the previous member platform, but they will be possible at the new member platform. So like easy fixes that should, like adding a new member, that should be resolved. And of everything else is of course just a matter of the policy change that things should agree on. And if it's a policy change, then the member platform will reflect on this policy change.
Okay, is that for a statement or for point of debate? Okay, so we will be having a short round of debate, since, as Anya said, all features that could potentially be included in the new members platform please upload them to GitHub or communicate them in the member platform channel we created on Slack. So all the suggestions, please don't bring those up. Put them in Slack or on GitHub. And then we will be going with UAP Spain, followed by, I don't have my glasses on, UAP Germany.
No, it's just a reflection, like it's not a suggestion that maybe we should think about if we really want to give NCs the power to extend deadlines just because, or even HOs, like because for example, I personally don't think that HO should have the power to extend deadlines because then you get the typical case of someone who will not write an eval for 3 months and then be like, oh, since you're my bestie HO, can you extend the deadline for me? And then like not have the pressure of submitting evaluations on time. Because like we all know that the longer you take to write an evaluation, also the less quality it has in the end. As for NCs, I think that it could be given to NCs as long as there is an understanding from the NCs that there shouldn't be a bias in the sense of, oh, this HO is my bestie, I'm gonna extend the deadline for them. So you don't have the pressure, like still we need to stick to the deadlines as much as possible to have quality evaluations in the network.
Okay, thank you very much, Anastasia. Then there was a direct response from Poland, so we'll recognize Poland.
So as Anastasia mentioned, the issue of head organizers being responsible for the adding evaluations, I would like to ask on the side of UAP Poland that it's not only about the possible nepotism, but also because of the fact that many new members who have been delegates before being the head organizers is their first event as the officials. So we also have doubts whether this would be in their competences to provide such a responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we will be going to Germany. Yeah, like no more points. Okay. Were you done? Yeah. Then we'll go into the governing body, followed by Czech Republic.
Echoing what Anya said already on behalf of the IO, whatever the NCs believe that should be the rules, of course, it can be reflected and technically. My only point from the network perspective would be that it should be a network-wide rule that applies to everyone in the same way, so that there is fairness ensured. Secondly, I would shed light on the fact or like the mindset that is behind the evaluation policy. And I think the idea is probably to have someone giving a feedback or an evaluation in a way that it's helpful. And usually this is when the memory is still fresh and these evaluations are not done just for the technical reason of having an evaluation for a later reason. But if you decide you want to extend the time, we will review it as a GB, but it should be the same for all NCs and on all events at the same time.
Okay, thank you very much, Yanis. Then there's a direct response from UAP Croatia.
Thank you. I really agree with Yanis when it comes to him saying it should be the same for everyone, because my biggest concern is every NC will have something different. And when you have such differences, like we have, for example, in fundraising, in our financial structures, it becomes a shit show. Yeah, you'll have to forgive me for using that word, but it really does become very hard to manage and very hard to see. So we need this kind of clear sets. And if the NCs have such power, I'm not necessarily opposed to NCs having such power, but the problem is right now we have a month and a half to review. I think that's enough time, but if you want to review it, you had the loophole before. I think that the new members platform is closing that. But the point is that we simply cannot manage 40 different NCs having different policies on evaluation, especially when you're jumping from session to session. For example, you chair in the Netherlands and then vice president in Slovenia. The policies may change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Then Czech Republic, and then we'll be going back to European Azerbaijan.
So we also 100% agree that it should be the common for all of the NCs, because even now, the communication between leadership and NC board may be really difficult because there are some differences, and adding a different evaluation period for every NC just seems like used even by the board to kind of go against the leadership, or basically do what they want to get things. I don't know, it sounds bad, but I think it should be the same for everyone, not to create more confusion in the communication structures.
Okay, thank you very much. Then UAP Finland, is that a direct response or not?
I'm not sure. It talks about the differences, like the length of the.
Just make your point. No.
What I wanted to say was that also having different evaluation periods also it also affects the evaluatee, the person that is being evaluated, because for example ISS, they require that you have at least one valid evaluation, and like for as it is right now, you are pretty much guaranteed to get your evaluation after 6 weeks. Imagine that, you know, some NC would have like 3 months, and suddenly you don't get your evaluation in time for your IS.
Okay, then we'll no. Then we'll be going back to UAP Azerbaijan.
Thank you everyone for your points. First, I will be referring to UAP Spain and Poland about the giving the responsibility to the HOs. I completely agree with you that maybe not the HOs who should be in control of the evaluation process, but rather the national committee, because they will be more, they will be not besties with the people who you should evaluate. So I believe that it would be more transparent if we give the access to the national committee. Now, going to the governing body, Croatia and Czech Republic, I also completely agree that the deadline should be the same, and it shouldn't be dependent on the NC itself. Maybe some NCs will extend it to 1 year, who knows. And I completely agree with that. My point was that to extend the deadline for everyone, to make it not, for example, 6 weeks, but for example, 2 months, 3 months, sorry. And regarding the point that was made by UAP Finland about the international sessions, I believe that's something really occasional. And if we actually do extend the deadline up to 3 months, and there is an IS happening, the evaluator who wants an evaluation, he can urgently require that I have an IS. Can you please give me an evaluation quicker than 3 months, for example? Yes, thank you. I hope that was clear. One more point regarding the new members platform. While I was making this topic of debate, I had no knowledge about the new members platform. That's why I wanted to see it on the old members platform. But as we have newly introduced members platform, I think if we had those changes, that the national committee can keep the control of the evaluation process, that would make it more smooth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other NCs who still want to make points, or are we concluding the debates? Oh, you know what, Anastasia, just
No,
just
my
say
point is literally to end the debate.
Great. Yeah. So then we will be concluding the debate. Thank you very much, UAP Azerbaijan, for bringing this up. That marks the end of the day. So don't get up yet. Yeah, don't get up yet. Wait. We have some other announcements to make. The first one being going back on something that happened earlier today. It is our pleasure to announce that the vote from the GB about the election criteria, like clause 8 and 12, have both passed. It was a close call, but they both passed.
Too late.
Yeah,
It's too late.
Okay. And then the other announcements.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this for the second day today. Bless you. The order that we're sitting in today, we already have a winner that guessed it within 3 hours from the start of the day. I'm not going to say who it is yet, because I'd love to see if you have any guess. Just remember that the winner of the person who knows how you're set at tomorrow gets to be video.
What?
In the Uap network.
Yeah, only if they're really good.
Okay, we'll just go from here to there with suggestions on what the criteria was. Quick fire. Let's go. Denmark.
No.
No idea?
No idea.
Oh yeah.
Estonia.
Yeah, the Netherlands.
Oh yeah. Mountains.
Mountains.
You're right, but Mia found it 5 hours ago. Yes. So the highest mountain in Europe is actually Mount Elbrus in Russia, but because Russia is not here, Mount Shkara in Georgia is the highest one. That's why you're sitting there. And the flatlands of Jutland doesn't help Denmark very much. Mia, you get to be in an international video tomorrow. Thank you very much. Yeah. Final ones from my lovely colleague Deborah.
Colleague.
Friend.
Okay, so firstly from our lovely boy Joao, he's selling some masks. You want to buy one from him? Yeah?
No.
He's just giving them away
If you
for free.
need a mask.
Sorry, there you
ask
go.
for one. We have FFP2 masks in excess. If you're reusing masks, if you have like a broken finger or something, just ask. We have
And
a
then,
lot.
and then finally, for the evening, so now we're going to be having dinner, and for like 45 minutes, an hour, and then we're going to come congregate back here at like 8:15, and we're going to do a fun quiz.
Pub quiz.
A pub quiz, yeah. And before you get off, I'm going to put you in your teams. Also, be honest if you're really good friends with someone on your team, I'm going to put you on a different team, okay?
So for the people that joined online, I hope you had a better experience than yesterday. If there's any suggestions on making it even better for tomorrow, please send them in the 2102 digital participants Slack channel. And yeah, we're more than happy to get those suggestions implemented for tomorrow then. Have a good evening, and yeah, have fun. Have a drink, stretch a bit, stop looking at screens, and yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.